I'm David Kelley. I founded a company design firm called IDEO, 1978, and I've been a professor at Stanford for 35 years. And I guess my latest claim to fame is the founding of the Stanford D School, actually the Hasso-Plattner Institute of Design, officially. I wish I could say that I was this big, like do-gooder social impact guy. It's not, that wouldn't be true. I mean, I'm a design person, and what I do for my kind of life's work is empower people to use their creativity to do something interesting. It just so turns out that what the kind of people that hang out at the D School and at IDEO like to do is stuff that has social impact. It's meaningful to them. It makes it empowers them more. So I like that. I'm trying to teach them a process of how you I'm trying to teach them a process of how you routinely innovate. And the best way to do that is to have them work on something that they care about, something that's meaningful to them. So I really got into kind of social entrepreneurship, social impact through my real love, which is unlocking people's creativity, and that the kind of social impact is a means to an end. We always used to talk about design. And so when I'd say I'm a designer, somebody would say, how do you like my drapes? And that wasn't the kind of designer I was. And so my students were always complaining that they were not viewed as designers in the world in the way fashion designers were, or whatever. And so I kept saying to them that, they were experts in the methodology, not in a particular subject area. And pretty soon that somehow transferred to calling it design thinking. But design thinking is really just this human-centered approach that we use to coming up with breakthrough ideas. And so it's a kind of a methodology that you can hang your hat on. I mean, so many people who think of themselves as creative just think it kind of comes to them. It appears. A muse, appears. But by having a methodology that we call design thinking, there's a kind of a phased step-by-step process. Not that we expect people to follow it exactly, but that it gives you something to be mindful of, and then you can improve upon it and you can get better at it. So design thinking is nothing more than a kind of a methodology that allows you to be mindful of your creative process. So design thinking is used everywhere. In the social sector, we call it human-centered design, or in fact, the Gates Foundation funded us to make a publication called the Human-Centered Design Toolkit, which is distributed in the developing world to all kinds of organizations. That's probably our largest impact, is having our methodology be used by nonprofits to come up with new ideas. So our process is inherently human, so I think many people try to innovate without getting into the messiness of being with the people who are actually going to benefit. So if you look at a D School project like Embrace or Delight or any of the projects that have come from here, or the ideal ones as well, you find that it comes from the breakthrough idea came from deep empathy with the people who are going to benefit. So you're out there, you think you're doing one thing, and then you notice that, what they really care about is their documentation, or they really care about, their kids and how they're being, their health is being affected by something they do. And once you get that, then now I've got something to really work on. Now I have a project that will really have impact because it's what the people really care about. And I think before we really started focusing on this human-centered design, it was more a hands-off thing where the smart people kind of sat in the room and came up with the ideas without that physicality of being there. So the big part about design thinking is this kind of bias towards action, where instead of doing a lot of planning, you jump right in and kind of be in the middle of the mess, and then have the freedom to morph the problem that you're working on. I'd have to say that too much of the world is into this paradigm of problem solving. And we think that that's okay, but that a much more interesting way to look at it is what we call need finding. Find a problem that's worth solving and then do the problem solving rather than the other way around. I really think now is a fantastic time to try things out. The world's never been so open for new ideas. It's a particularly good time for students where, my students might, start the next most, they're at 22, they might start the most important company in the world next week, and it used to be that you had to like, uh, sort of slug it out in corporate America for 50 years before you got a job where you can make impact. And I think that the world is now open to new ideas from anybody, not just from different disciplines, but also from different age groups. The first time in history where in families, speaking for myself included, where young people are like really good at things that their elders are not. My 17-year-old daughter definitely knows how the world from a digital perspective is put together better than I do. And in my day, like if I knew more than my father did about something, it was kept a secret, And so I think it's a particularly good time for young people to spread their wings and get their ideas into the world.